Hey, I'm Kev, Mr. Kerr, and welcome back to MotoGP 17 and the manager careers. Right, heading to Australia. And we're in a land down under as we go through the final corner in Fifth Island. A wonderful track, but look at these damp conditions, all this glorious sunshine down here. So we've got a damp track, we've got wet tyres on. We're going to try and make it around this track without crashing. It's been a very up and down season for MacDonald. So that's a bit wide. But in that wet conditions might help cool the tyres. Of course that's in this game, isn't it? So we go, let off, we're easing off a lot through Casey Stoner corner. We're braking very early into the hairpin. We keep it in second gear. Very modest on the throttle out these corners. I know there's been, you've seen in the past where I've been very aggressive. You know, MacDonald has been on the throttle. And that's why he's had such an up and down season. He's had 5 wins, a podium in Brno. And only 2 other times he's scored points this season. That's 8 point scoring races out of 15. So half the time he's good, half the time he's very bad, MacDonald. I hope you Fifth Island is one of the good ones. He hasn't been in the past, he's had pace around here, but as we've seen last season, and actually most seasons around here, he just gets into trouble, does MacDonald. He's very ginger on this lap. Is it too ginger? It's going to do around a 135. 35.5. Honestly not sure about that time. As he is fastest for the time being, that's because he's went out early though. Will the track dry up? As we look at the conditions when we go to session info, it says it's going to rain. But maybe that's before the session, now it's drying up. We will see as we skip time. And oh, that's not too bad for MacDonald. Only a second off the pace, that's pretty good. And on the 4th row alongside Marini and Denny Kenny rounds out the top 10 has Alex Marquez grabs by ahead of Luti and Morbidelli. Seems like always named those 3 on the front row, haven't we, this season, with Oliveira leading the second row ahead of Piscini and Nakagami with a good qualifying from the Japanese rider. Then Baldassari leads the 3rd row ahead of Shirota and Vergey. And then looking further down, there's Jack Vander leading the 8th row ahead of Raffin and Simone Corsi. So good qualifying from Elusive. The Spanish rider right at the back can then move forward in the race. As we look at the grid, and you've got usual suspects on the first page, but on the second page you see Light still in 12th. Looking very determined for this race to get a good result. Now let's looking further down, there's Isaac Vinales in 18th, and you've got Xavier Simon leading the 7th row, and there's Magnum leading the 8th row with home hero Remy Gardner.
From the start of the race and inside the riders' heads, the countdown begins with the Australian Grand Prix here at stunning Phillip Island.
Leading the 9th row. Now, of course, MacDonald's looking forward. He won't be looking back this race. As he revs up the engine, will you get another stellar start in these tricky conditions? He won't, as went up gear. A bit late there, but still he holds on to 12th, which is not bad. They make a dive into the first corner. Will you be cautious? He's being cautious, because then you can take so many different lines into the next corner. And see the track's a bit wetter than it was in qualifying, as he does dive it down the inside. Very clean from MacDonald. Don't often say that. As we've seen, he's up to 3rd past Morbidelli. Oh, as he backs out of that move, he goes a bit wide on Nakagami, but he's trying to hold off Shirota. Looking down the inside of Nakagami, eases the Japanese rider wide and up into 8th. Oh, and almost into the back of Baldassari, who's in 7th. Well, the number 7 is no longer there. Let's look at that Spanish rider, Xavi, the master tactician, having a stellar start up to 6th. This is the first lap MacDonald needed. Just being clean, not making any mistakes. You know, he goes slightly wide there. Down the hill, will he dare to make a move? Well, he does. A late one. Not even Luti saw that, the veteran. Donald into the top 5 as he got the Mark VDS riders. Oliveira on the podium. Got Piscini in 4th, but he's falling back slightly. MacDonald eases round the outside. He loves these wet conditions. He's shown it again here in Australia. So you've got fitting redder. Yeah, it's a bit cloudy, but there's actually sun around this track. It's good to see as Marquez leads from Oliveira. Then Morbidelli 3rd. MacDonald in 4th, holding off the Italian. And of course, he did the fast out in the opening at 38.8. He's got Baldassari in 6th, Fergay in 7th as MacDonald gets into the podium places. Down the inside of, I think that is Morbidelli. Now down the inside of Oliveira. Oh, as they go side by side, MacDonald backs out. Too early to fight like that on the second lap of 7. It's a long race around here in these conditions. As Piscini almost into the back of MacDonald. Or just saving the bike here as well, saving these tyres. Look at that, barely anywhere. I'm not sure they have even won this race so far. You expect much different around this fast track, which demands a lot of the tyres, demands lots of the riders as well. Those are high speed corners. You see he goes round the outside of Morbidelli. But too wide into the wet stuff. Breaks early into the right hander at the bottom of the hill. It's almost gets into Morbidelli. It's the top 3 on the line of stern. So is MacDonald looking down the inside of the Italian. He gets into 3rd. As Marquez is where he needs to be for the championship, of course. Leading his rivals. And leading the race. But how long will that last? As here comes MacDonald. In the slipstream along with Oliveira. Swador gets up to 2nd. Marquez has the fastest lap. Swador breaks early. Down the inside of both Oliveira and Marquez in the first corner as he did a 35. As the track is drying up. Look at this, we've got a dry line here. As you would expect with the sunny conditions. And now MacDonald's leads. Can he put away? There's always a bit of a bump there, as you can see, going into the fast left. Got to be very careful with the bike there. Trail breaks it into the apex. And is gentle on the power out of it. Showing some touch in these conditions. We don't often talk about that with MacDonald this season, apart from it's been very wet around like Silverstone or Le Mans. Been a bit harsh on this Moto2 machine. But for the first time Australia is having a trouble-free race. He's just easing away from the opposition, it sounds like. We go down the hill into the right. Getting onto some of the wet stuff to cool the tyres. And short shift up to 3rd, up to 4th. Brake early, or dab the brakes. But managed to off the power into the final corner and hard on the power. Excellent, isn't it? Staying clear of the curves, which is again something that MacDonald hasn't done a lot in the past on this machine. But look at that, 34s now. 34.3. Breaking a bit deeper into that first corner as well. As here comes the confidence from the elusive rider. Look at that, fight with no one. Now he's just upping his pace. He's almost halfway through this race. It's looking like a one-man show again in wet conditions. Oliveira up to 2nd. Where is Marquez? There's MacDonald cutting the grass. Now he has to get some side money. Let's go through the right-hander. Very picturesque circuit, isn't it? Yeah, Bayern looking around. There's a grandstand. People waving their Rossi flags, it looks like. As Marquez back up into 3rd ahead of Morbidelli. One of these by 2.5 over Oliveira. Gentle through the left hand again, breaking a bit too late into that corner. And he's going wide, missing the apex. Got to sort that out. There's a MacDonald late in this race. As Oliveira's got some pace on that KTM. Sticking with MacDonald. And MacDonald taking it a bit too gently on this fourth lap. Definitely taking it gently out of the final corners. Oh, he gets onto some curb. It's not too bad. Because he does do a 35 for that. That's not too so. Yeah, we are 2.5 seconds back now. So maybe it's just that middle part to that where he can hang on to MacDonald, but then that final sector just pulls away the elusive rider. The short shifted up to third. You can see the back end trying to get away from him there. We got 3.2 ahead now. It's definitely the fast corners where you see MacDonald gain time. Very brave. He's got the biggest of brass balls, does this rider. This Marquez up to third ahead of Morbidelli. Riviera looking comfortable in second ahead of the Mark VDS pair. You expect nothing less from the Portuguese rider. Very capable. And 3.2 seconds back. He's getting all going wide. This time carrying a bit too much speed and not getting the turn in into the corner. Look at that, carrying virtually no speed into the hairpin at the bottom of the hill. 3.5 ahead. Oh! Oliveira's, what's our teammate doing? Vander down from 27th. Gonna have to give him a talking to after the race. As MacDonald heads on to the penultimate lap of this race. In the total opposite of his teammate. He dips into the 33s. Is he riding Moto2 machine or MotoGP one? Pulls out another second on the Riviera behind. Short shift that up. Much gentle on the power. Crowd going crazy in the grandstands. They do like their bike racing in Australia. No, you're not really seeing any guys looking like they're joining MotoGP from Australia, off the top of my head. You know, you've got Jack Meadow, of course, already there. Coming up through the ranks, you've got Remy Gardner, of course, in Moto2, but he's on the Tech 3. He's just struggling to score points. He's not a front runner. But that's it pretty handy on the Tech 3 in real life, Remy. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Come in that years, but you know, it's not like a decade ago even when you had like Troy Corsa in World Superbikes, Troy Bayliss as well in MotoGP. You guys like Pitt as well in Supersport. You know, Australian riders everywhere. Christopher Mullen, of course, in MotoGP and World Superbikes. And they seem to have dropped off as well. Like lots of nations. I'm sure they're all going to come back. You know, Spain may be reigning now, but you know, in the future, in like a decade's time, see Japan return to the fore, or you know, France, Italy. Of course, they still got a strong contingent in Italy, but you know, it'd be right up there. You know, in the post-Rossi era it will be then. Crazy to think that we're coming to that very soon, the post-Rossi era. He surely only got a max, what, 2 years left, and of course I wish him well in his recovery from his injuries that he sustained in a motocross incident. The second that he's sustained this year, but this is a bit more serious, breaking his leg. Breaking both legs, didn't he? Yes, wish him a speedy recovery. Always the danger for these MotoGP riders or Grand Prix riders when they train on the loose surfaces, that can happen. So that with Marquez, he loves, you know, going on his dirt ovals as well. But yeah, I hope Rossi well. As well as MacDonald has been in this race. Dominant. Eased his way through the field. Easy last lap, an easy victory again for the Scot. As he wins by over 9 seconds ahead of Oliveira, faster that by a country mile. Marquez in third, ahead of Morbidelli, winning that inter-team battle. Bassini ran out the top 5 ahead of Luti, Baldassari, Nakagami, Vergate and Marini ran out the top 10 ahead of Bagnaia, Quartararo, Danny Kenny in 13th, Surin and Raffin with a point. Just a tenth of a second behind Surin, just a tenth of a second ahead of Isaac Vinales. What a train that must have been. There's the home hero Garner in 19th and Vanda in last after that fall. So in the championship, Alex Marquez leads by just 4 points ahead of Franco Morbidelli. It is still extremely close between the pair, and Oliveira is just 17 points back with 2 rounds remaining. Luti looks secure in 4th, but here comes MacDonald just 28 points back of the Swiss rider, but still that might be too big a gap to make up in just 2 rounds, with Bassini in 7th, Baldassari 7th, Bagnaia 8th, Vergate in 9th. Marini rounds out the top 10 ahead of Nakagami, Quartararo, Kent, Agata, Pons, Corsi, Shirota, Vanda, Binder, and Isaac Vinales rounds out the top 20. It's just outside it. You've got Remy Gardner and Surin up to 22nd ahead of Xavier Simon, and Raffin with his first point of the season up to 24th ahead of Jorge Navarro and Sandro Cortese. There's 25 riders scored so far this season, with Locatelli right at the back. And in the Constructors' Standards, it's Carrots 124 points in the KTM, with Tech 3 in 3rd, Suter 4th, and Speed Up in 5th. As yet, it's Staten MacDonald. You couldn't have ridden those last 2 races better than he did, as yes, he's surfing the wave of success at the moment. And we've unlocked 1993 Freddie Spencer, a bit over the hill. Unfortunately, Spencer by then fast Freddie, but still an extremely good rider, an important rider in MotoGP history. As for Grand Prix motorcycle racing history, can Dan MacDonald make history? As well, in the future he definitely can, but this season it's been very up and down, but he was brilliant in the Phillip Island, and look at that victory from 12th on the grid. Definitely achieved the race objective. Well, Vanda did the total opposite, bit of a mare for the South African. While looking at our Moto3 riders, look at the Argentine. He has scored some points. Elusive is on the board in Moto3. It took long enough, but he's been very consistent this season, and it's just growing, it looks like, as a rider. And definitely looks like we're going to keep him for next season. What a fantastic ride from 16th up to 14th. As for the Sip, he qualifies brilliantly. He is the stopwatch king, but he's not the race king, unfortunately. Down to 22nd, but they still both achieve the race object. So a very good weekend for Elusive, very good for the coffers. So we're going to have lots of money after this weekend. As they go, all the rides improving their skills. Vanda improved everything. Despite a horrible race, MacDonald improved every single part from throttle management. So did the Sip improve his braking and body position, and the Argentine rider improved his throttle management and body position. Look at that, he's got the weakest stats out of everyone as well. The Argentine rider, definitely a star for the future. As looking at the credits, almost 100,000 of them earned, and good reputation earned as well. As look at the viewing of costs, no repair costs. Interesting off the Vander's for. I thought there would be some. As next time out, we'll be heading to the penultimate round of the season, the end of the trip here near the end of the season, as well as we're going to the Simpang International Circuit in Malaysia. We're very happy underground for MacDonald in the past. So can he continue the streak? Can our Moto3 rider score even more points? Can Vanda return to form? Find out next time. So, watching. I will see you then.